Thank you for staying with us as we delve into the crucial matters of what happened in Ejura and, of course, Wa. Joining us for the conversation, Adam Bona. He's a security analyst. My colleague, Rafiq Salam, who is our Upper West Regional correspondent, is also joining us via Zoom. Rafiq, in your shot there. Later on, we'll be joined by some others who will help us as we get into this discourse. But let me start with you, Rafiq Salam. So you paint the picture for us, in Wa, at least currently. So from what we hear, this committee has been sitting and some punishment has been meted out to military officers. Some have been demoted and all of that. Tell us about those, is it 60 plus, who were on duty on the said day, and what exactly has been meted out to them by way of punishment?
The information that we have gleaned on clearly stated that 86 young soldiers were involved in the act. The incident started somewhere around 30th June, where one of them complained of his mobile phone being snatched. So he relayed the information to his colleague, a private soldier, and then they went to the duty officer, and he gave them the opportunity to move to town to look for the missing mobile phone. And so, which led to the brutalities in the Wa township. And our information also revealed that 3 soldiers, talking about the Central Guard and 2 others, have also been demoted from their current rank. Some of them are staff sergeant, and then they have been reduced to corporal, and then also some lance corporal, and they have also been demoted to private. The other investigations that we that was revealed in the preliminary findings also stated that 8 soldiers currently are on detention. They were charged, tried, and then at the committee that was chaired by the commanding officer at the barracks there. And so they have also, the committee so far have also met 16 of the victims and witnesses. And today they are going to continue hearing at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council. The information that we also had is that out of the 86 soldiers that was alleged to have committed the act yesterday, they were also able to hear their side, about 20 of them. And so after the sitting at the Upper West Regional Coordinating Council, they will continue at the 10 Mechanized Battalion Agri Barracks in Wa to also listen to the side of the soldiers. What we also do know is that the military also had initial briefing from the National Investigations Bureau Commander, Mr. Alexander Audu. They also were briefed by the Upper West Regional Police Commander, DCOP Francis Abodinyako, and then also by the commanding officer, who is Lieutenant Colonel Jima. And then also they also had some briefing from the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali. So far, that is the situation in the Upper West region here with regards to the alleged military brutalities. So the committee is still sitting, and they will continue their sitting today.
And of course, that committee led by Colonel Ayorogo, and those 86 involved in there, all having their cases got into. But we also hear that a duty officer on the day is alleged to have permitted the troops to go to town for the search of that missing mobile phone. Rafiq, is there any confirmation on that, about the duty officer allowing them to go to town?
The duty officer in the report, they are not yet dealt with him. They have also stated categorically that what they have done is without prejudice, and so they are expected to continue his trial today. And so, but all the officers who were on duty that very day, on July 1, Republic Day, brutalities in Wa have been disciplined, and so they will continue his hearing today. After that, they will get the final outcome of his issue.
Now, of the people who were directly affected, at least 11 of them, we know of those who have been hospitalized and all of that, but there's said to have been the loss of some mobile phones, about 13 mobile phones. A tricycle was seized, a sum of 1,460 Ghana cedis. What are the details on these, items, and have the owners got them back?
Let me make a little bit of a correction here. The money involved is 1,460, and this money belongs to three persons, three different people. They haven't yet received any money from the sum that is being alleged to have been missing. But as for the 30 mobile phones, they've been able to get 7 of them, and they have been given to their owners. And the tricycle motor has also been retrieved and is also given to the owner.
Well, let's hold it for here now and interact as well with Adam Bona. I'll be coming back to you, Rafiq, as we conclude on what to expect ahead of today as the committee continues sitting. Mr. Bona, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. And good morning to my brother, Rafiq Salam.
Great. Since we've already started from the angle of what has transpired in the Kano Ayorogo committee, I'd like to find out from you what your take is so far on its work and the punishments that have been meted out to some of the military officers who were involved in the incident that day.
Well, I must say that has been swift. I must congratulate the military's early days yet to start celebrating. But I, didn't have any doubt in my mind, knowing who the defense minister is and knowing those, under him, the CDS and the rest. I knew very well that these rogue officers who went into town to brutalize my people in the Upper West were definitely going to be punished severely. So I am not surprised if what Rafiq is telling us and what I have picked up from my sources within the military and my sources within the region is anything to go by, then I'm definitely sure that as the defense minister promised in parliament, anyone who is found culpable will be punished. I am expecting that at least there will be some dismissals. We've already heard about demotions, but I think that the military is supposed to be one of the most respected institutions all over the world. And if you know the performance of our military when they go for international peacekeeping operations, they are usually, mentioned in a manner that is gratifying. And so to have them, especially, finishing their recruitment training and sent to the Upper West region, and the Upper West region, military in the Upper West region, they haven't been there for too long. And so the setup is still ongoing. And so to have them there in less than 4 days or 4 days, and they're going into town because of a missing mobile phone, and for a duty officer who I suppose is supposed to be of a higher rank than this, new recruits, giving them permission instead of going through their own processes. The military have rigorous processes. And these processes is not only limited to this country. It is all over the world. And so you just don't send officers in uniform and ask them, go into town, go and look for your mobile phone. When you could have, maybe they have the military police. They have processes you go through if these things happen. They could have, informed the police if at all they didn't have the military police there, which I suppose they should. But to send them into town, what were you expecting? So I am believing, and I am happy to hear that already there are stiffer punishment for those who were involved in. We want to see more so that it sends, some shivers through the spine of all officers who are fond of doing these things to citizens, in this country.
Before I pose my very next question to you, let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Martin Kwebu, who joins the conversation. Mr. Kwebu, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Akaku.
Thank you so much Thank you for joining the conversation. I'll be crossing over to you shortly, Mr. Kwebu, but back to you, Adam Bona. Now, very briefly, I know that you gave your rating on the Ejura committee, the Kumsin committee. We've not got there yet. We'll be getting there shortly. But what would be your rating, so to speak, of the WA committee, if you like, the Colonel Ayorogo committee so far, looking at the work and the punishments meted out, what progress they've made? What would be your rating of that committee's work?
Oh, I would give them an 8 out of 10. I must confess, because it looks like they are doing some real work in the Upper West region. They seem to be doing real work, and as you can see, tension has, calmed down. Those who were worried and thought that no punishment would be meted out to these rogue officers are revising their notes, and so the Ayorogo committee, I'll give them 8 out of 10, and I'm hoping that they maintain what they are doing and get everyone who is involved punished severely, so that those who are affected in the Upper West, especially I hear they are likely to be compensated also. They get compensated, and these officers punished. I mean, the military shouldn't be doing this to my people in the Upper West, not at all.
Right. So do you maintain your stance of 2 over 10, like I heard you say some days back, as far as the Ejura committee is concerned? Just briefly.
Yes, day one I gave them 2 over 10. Day two I did 4 out of 10, and we will be monitoring today to see. I haven't been too pleased with some of the questionings and some of the things, but I do believe that as they progress, they are likely to, find their feet. They are likely to, because I see them more of trying to find excuses for the inactions of authorities who are supposed to know better. You can see yesterday, for instance, they went again out into town, lambasting the media and allowing respondents, instead of admitting that they should have known better and should have done the best, blaming the media. They allowed some officers to, criticize some of us who speak in the area of security, when he himself, Vladimir Nchidanso, is one of us. And when that officer, the deputy regional commander, made those comments about, disparaging comments about those who speak in the area of security, quickly you found Nchidanso saying that, well, that is why he doesn't want to be called. But if you heard from the Minister of Interior, he said one of the reasons why they put you and Chidanso in that committee is because you are a security expert and you are a security analyst. You didn't have the balls to tell the Minister of Interior that you are not a security analyst, you are not a security expert. So you allow him, you took those accolades from the Interior Minister. Yet when that officer who failed to perform and allowed people to be killed in Ejura came to say, oh, security analysts are one of the reasons, said so-called security analysts are one of the reasons why, people became, violent. You quickly said, oh, that is why you don't want to be called. When you do that, for me, I just think that some of us were happy to find him there because he's one of our colleagues and we knew that he was going to ensure that the facts come out. But for him to allow all these excuses, and he has joined in the excuses, making excuses and blaming the media, making excuses and blaming security analysts and experts. And I find that worrying, because that is not why they are put there. That is non-substantial. The substance is that people have been killed. The district police commander in Ejura did allude to the fact that he did not make any requests for the military. He only asked for reinforcement. And so if he only asked for reinforcement, who did the assessment? Did they ask him the type of reinforcement? They only sent him the military. These are the lapses. How do you say they were going to burn the police station, and yet you didn't send in the fire tender? How do you say these people were going to be violent, yet you didn't send in ambulance? You saw one of the officers who shielded Erastus getting shot, and they had to drag him, literally dead, drag him from the road. There were no paramedics there to assist him. So I think that they should move away from the excuses. It shouldn't be called a committee for excuses. It should be a committee to find who killed, what happened, and these people were killed. So, Mr. Kakpo, this is what I can say.
All right. I'll be coming back to you shortly. Let me now bring in Martin Kpebu. And you've heard exhaustively quite a lot of what has been happening. The military says the youth shot at them. The soldiers are insinuating that the youth shot at them. It's been said by the general officer commanding that they returned fire for fire. If I may quote here, we have DCOP David Ajimana Jim, who testified yesterday, who also says that, in fact, he heard sounds of a pump-action gun being used. He did not see it, but he says he heard it. These are some of the matters that have come up. The media has also been taken on ferociously at the committee level. What is your reflection so far on the happenings or in the committee in Ejura, or at least on the back of happenings in Ejura and that of Wa as well? You can lump them together.
Okay, so on the matter of Ejura, I should say that the comment by the DCOP, well, the story is still unraveling, so we cannot be conclusive as to whether the youth really shot any guns, okay? Yes, because you remember even a member of the committee, Madam Amwa, Juliet Amwa, asked him if they had found any shell casings and etc. to show that the cartridges, to show that the youth fired any arms. And the DCOP said no, they hadn't. So for now, I don't want to base much on it. Let's return to some of the fundamental issues, okay, arising from what's happened so far. And look, let's be candid with viewers that since those who have appeared, the witnesses so far can be recalled, nothing we are saying here that's on this program is conclusive until the commission finishes this report. Ordinarily, would have said we should keep quiet till they finish. But things in the nature of public interest matters, when the public comments, it helps to shape the rest of the inquiry. That's how come I'll comment. Otherwise, ordinarily, I would have kept quiet. So now, the fundamental issue that I have seen, okay, so far is that quite clearly, look, there was no proper plan in place to deal with this issue. I say so because the minister has been very clear in his mind, and the DCOP also confirmed that they got the intelligence the night before. So far, if you say night, minimum from 9th up to about 2 p.m. when the this demonstration leading to the shooting took place, you have at least 15 hours. We have at least 15 hours to prepare. Now, so what was the preparation? You see that the DCOP says they first dispatched the divisional, those from the division in Mampong, to go and help. And then later, before they brought in the military, it didn't show any coordination, because if the threat was really that high, what I expected was that by morning, you would have all these people in town, at least, of course.
A bit of a struggle there with the connection as far as Martin Kpebu is concerned. As and when we reconnect with him, we'll give him the opportunity to sum up those comments he was making. Martin Kpebu, thank you for staying with us. So you were making a comment. We missed the tail of that. Could you rehash it?
Yes, my comment is that not enough men were deployed. That much is clear. Not enough men were deployed, and it wasn't coordinated. So not enough men. You see, the DCOP mentions that they sent people from formed police units and then the school. So far, the question is that, are these persons trained for crowd control? So far, I've not seen the police showing us to what extent they sent the best of their best for crowd control to Ejura. You see? And then number two, it doesn't appear these were enough men. They sent 10 soldiers from the section. You see the Lieutenant Colonel Owari. He said when the 10 soldiers got in there, 3 of them stayed back at the police station, and then 7 went into town. So these numbers, so the point I'm making is that all together, these were not enough men. No wonder such things would happen. Because you said you brought in 7 soldiers to come into town to face the crowd. Is it possible that because they were just 7, they panicked when they saw the youth who outnumbered them? You see, you look at it again, 7 soldiers as against the youth that we saw. Could it be that as the numbers were more, these soldiers panicked? That's why they shot to kill. You look at it, it's possible. So looking at the whole, the thrust of my submission is that if you look at the time we got the intelligence, not enough preparation was done. And as I've said, where are the best of the best from the police service for crowd control? So far, if you tell me SWAT, I don't understand that SWAT is for crowd control, and etc. You see it? So maybe we need clarifications on that level. And then more fundamentally, this Ethiopian Ajim, he said prior to that, in the last 1 year, they've had 3 clashes with the youth in Ejura. They have had 3 clashes with the youth in Ejura. Straight away, my mind went to the Peace Council. So if you see you have tensions between police and youth, I think this is one of the issues that could be directed to the Peace Council to come in to help resolve. You know, the Peace Council is not only in Accra. There's a district Peace Council, the regional, before the national one. So this is something that they should have been engaging the youth to help resolve it. Because so far, from what we hear, the youth are usually not happy about the police because they say matters don't get resolved quickly. So at least there should have been some engagements, more education, more education, more education. But we don't see that angle. It just looks like, okay, look, these are youth who in the last 1 year have challenged the police on 3 occasions. Okay, so this time if they try it, we just send in the military and the military will teach them a lesson. And that was confirmed by the Lieutenant Colonel Owari. He said, when you bring in the soldiers, it means that the police are tried and it wasn't working. So when the soldiers come in, they increase the force. That's why he said that when soldiers come in, they increase the force used. So you see the underlying problem.
Right.
Because police felt that on 3 occasions in the last 1 year, these youth in Ejura have not comported themselves well. They have been a thorn in the flesh of the police. So this time round, okay, we will bring in the soldiers to teach you a lesson. That much, I think, is fair. As I've said, as of this stage, until they come back and clarify, or until we hear other witnesses, these are preliminary comments. They are not conclusive.
Right. Let me also touch on the bit about, and you did make mention of the numbers and whether the military men there, the 7 of them had been, you know, seen quite a threat, for which reason some shots were fired. We heard from DSP Philip Hammond, the commanding officer, the district commanding officer, who said that there were between 600 and 800 protesters. So who knows what the numbers could have been. But my question to you now has to do with the media. If you look at what DCOP David Ajim has been saying, for example, he claims that the media created needless tension on the issue, that it wasn't what the picture we painted wasn't really what happened. We've all seen the videos, of course. We've heard from Kennedy Japan, Member of Parliament for Asin Central, who is also suggesting that we are culpable in a way, and that if there will be any chaos in this country, if that there will be war in Ghana, then it will be on the back of the media, whether mainstream or social media. How do you react to some of these developments, which some have called attacks on the media?
Ben, it's normal in a democracy. You see, our democracy is young, so it's normal that people who don't understand how the media work would say so. But the good thing too about it is that when it happens, it will also cause the media to do some introspection. From where so far, I don't know the basis for the attack. To be candid, what I heard was that so some stations, including your station, had shown that Kaka was a member of Fix the Country a campaign group, right? So why don't we do this? Ernesto Yeboah had mentioned, I'd heard him on some stations, that the man was a member. So why don't we bring in Ernesto Yeboah to, also testify? And then most especially, I understand if you go to Facebook, you will see Kaka's posts, several posts that he's made. He will show an uncompleted project, then he will say they should fix it. The regional minister himself has said that Kaka is always interested in the development of Ejura, so he's an advocate for development, okay? So why don't we go into Facebook and bring down all these posts, bring Ernesto Yeboah and Co in to testify, and then we move forward, you see? Because for me, that's why I see it. It shouldn't just be a blanket attack, just because it appears he was said to be a member of Fix the Country campaign group, but it doesn't appear so anymore. But I understand there are Facebook posts on that. The regional minister himself has confirmed that the Kaka is an activist advocating for development in Ejura. And is that not what Fix the Country this campaign group is working on? They are advocating to give opportunities to everybody, among others. So you see that there is some similarity in the causes, even if he didn't appear to be a former member. So let's just go into it. Let's investigate it rather than just attacking the media. But, these are things in the nature of a democracy. It's to be expected that as the media criticizes others, sure, they will also be the target of criticism from other sections of our society.
Let me move on now to Adam Bonner. And I know, Rafiq, you're still with us. I'll be crossing over to you after I speak to Adam Bonner. In respect of the Ejura clash, the military has come out to say that the aim was not to kill. The aim was clearly not to kill. But as the general officer commanding has also been saying, they returned fire for fire. What is your take on that matter in terms of proportionality and in terms of the deaths that we've seen, Adam Bonner?
Well, yes, I must say, well, it looks like that. The aim was not to kill because he wasn't there. Some of his men were there. And as far as I'm concerned, the statement or the response that some members in the crowd fired, I don't know whether that is an afterthought. I am saying I don't know whether that was an afterthought because he went on, the military officer went on to say that they actually have arrested 2 persons with firearms. Then when they asked him any spent shells, he said no. You remember when the incident happened, the Ashanti Regional PRO had a presser. And in that presser, when your colleagues in the media asked him, before their cameras, have you arrested any protester? He said, no, we have not arrested anybody. Then he went on to say that we haven't arrested anybody, but we are going to, go on our investigations to arrest. So at what point did they arrest these persons who they are purporting to have firearms, who use the firearms on them? And that elicited or that, made them respond fire for fire. As far as I'm concerned, I would not want to take that, in its entirety, especially if where this is coming from. Once again, in the Ashanti region, as once 7, we saw 7 able men killed in a very gory manner. Then we saw you know, M16s. We saw, you know, powerful rifles, automatic, semi-automatic rifles, and several ammo put by them. And we were told that these were the firearms they used on the police officers, and the police officers killed them. Later on, investigation by the committee put up, cleared them and said these people didn't have no firearms. They were no threat to the officers, so the officers just killed them. And so it is early days yet, but I am waiting to hear, to see the committee's report with regards to the inconsistencies. If you notice, the regional minister on day one actually said he called the lieutenant colonel, the infantry boss in Kumasi, and the commanding officer, the CEO, AFO, actually said the regional minister called him. Then somewhere along the line, another inconsistency, they said what? The police called them. Now the district police commander, he's in charge of the district in terms of internal security. He says, I did not call the military. I called for reinforcements. So whoever sent in the military, did the person ask him, what type of reinforcements do you want? Do you want military police reinforcement? Or do you want us to bring you the form police unit, you know, a more advanced form police unit with not just a water cannon, or, you know, but to come with all the tear gas and all that. And if you, I mean, you know, Martin Pebu did allude to the fact that they picked intel about 24 hours or so before the incident, at least more than 12 hours before the incident. If you know Kumasi to Ejura, I know Ejura very well. Kumasi to Ejura, you know, on a good day, you could do that by, you know, 1 hour, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes. And so if they picked this intel, what stopped them from sending in an advanced, more improved form police unit with all the equipment, riot gear, to go in there to ensure that there were no deaths? But let me put out there that some of us, when Kaka died, I think one of your media stations or some media stations who spoke to me, some of us started giving them that early, you know, warning, early sign warning, telling them that this man who has died is a member of the Zongo community. And if you know how my brothers and sisters in the Zongo communities live, you touch one, you touch everybody. So obviously there'll be reprisal attacks. So let's send in the chief imam. Let's send in the clergy. Let's make sure opinion leaders, the ministers, all of you should go there and start dialoguing. Dialogue should be the way to go. Unfortunately, sometimes we say these things, no one pays attention. And what some of us were fearing would happen is what exactly happened. And, you know, they were more reactive instead of being proactive. There were no fire tenders there, even though they picked intel that the police station was going to be burnt. There were no, you know, paramedics there. So for me, a lot of things have gone wrong, and that is why probably we are having this conversation.
Before I come to you, Martin, and back to you, Bona, for your concluding comments, at least that last bit there, that the security apparatus was reactive rather than proactive. Rafiq Salam, if you're still with us, if you can hear me, walk us through what to expect today as far as the Kano Ayorogo committee's work is concerned. What should we expect today, Enwa?
Today, the information that I have gleaned on looks like they will be at the Upper Senior Coordinating Council this morning to speak to more victims, more witnesses. They also, after that, they will get back to the 10 Mechanized Battalion Agri Barracks and then to speak to the remaining soldiers. Our information also is indicating that they have also visited the crime scene, the scene of the incident, with some of the victims and some of the witnesses to try to corroborate their stories. And so basically today, they will be at the Upper Senior Coordinating Council, room number 36. And then after which they will visit the barracks to speak to more of the young soldiers. But before I also take leave of you, because the people are not really happy about the way things are going, they also stating that they will have preferred that this investigation is also not heard in camera. They will have loved it to be public. And then the other
when you say the
issue
people,
has
just to
do with-
clarify, Rafiq, when you say the people, is it the people of the Upper West or is it those specifically
the
affected
people of
by
the
what
Upper
happened?
West region, they wanted
Right.
it to go public. They will have been seeing what is really happening. And because they are thinking is that things like this has happened before. Things like this has happened before. And then they have not been paid heed to. You know, before the incident, 3 days before the incident happened, there was this allegation of some army officers who went to Wuchao in the War West capital and beat up a Wosumbe operator.
Yes.
After
Yes.
they finished washing their car, and so it was not reported. And so they think that things like that are happening, and they cannot forget or forgive unless justice has taken its course. For the chain of permanent impunity has been broken for unconscionable crimes such as this.
Rafiq Salam, we shall stay in touch with you, but thank you for now for joining us on this beat. Keep doing the good work you have been doing. Let me wrap up with Martin Kpebu and Adam Bona. Starting with you, Martin. So what are your expectations ahead of today's committee sitting in Ejura? We've heard from the National Security Minister, for example, who says that we should proceed cautiously when it comes to any assumptions we are making. For example, that Kaka was said to be a member of the NDC initially. Now he's been confirmed to be a member of the MPP and all of that. So we should proceed very cautiously and not draw any hasty conclusions. You can add that to your concluding remarks, Mr. Kpebu.
Naturally, it's a good call because in matters like this, you remember earlier on I said ordinarily I wouldn't have even commented. But from experience, we've seen that as we give commentary alongside the sittings of the inquiry, it helps because you see, it's not possible. The world has changed. You cannot totally keep quiet for the 10 days. No, some commentary will be made, and you never know. Out of the commentary, the committee may see a point or two because it is in the nature of human beings. We are not perfect. So when you are in the saddle, sometimes you need people to criticize the work. And then through that, it will pull them into higher gear. So to the extent of all of this, one thing is clear that as for the commentary, it cannot cease totally, but it must proceed with a lot of circumspection. That's why even before you brought in this comment, you remember I made the point earlier that these are preliminary comments. A committee is still sitting. We may get more clarifications as time goes on. So it's a fair comment. And then let me quickly add this. You see, so far, yesterday, the commander of the Central Command, Brigadier General Joseph Apo, you could see he mentioned that he was not at the scene. Then the commander in charge of Ashanti region, that's the Lieutenant Colonel Owari, he also wasn't in charge, right? We are now waiting for the field commander, that is to say the one who was actually on the ground on the day. I've been wondering whether in these matters, we shouldn't start with him because he was the one really on the ground. So you see that my good friend Adam Bona was talking about the inconsistencies and the rest. You see, these two senior officers have stated categorically that they weren't in charge. So the apparent inconsistencies are bound to happen. So maybe moving forward, we should be looking at perhaps bringing those who are directly in charge. Then later, for policy and all those, then we bring the senior officers.
Right.
You see?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Kpebu, thank you so much. We're immensely grateful for your time, for your taking the time to join us this month. Let me wrap with you, Adam Bona. Your expectations ahead of today's Ejura committee sitting.
Yes, quickly. For WA, I obviously agree. It would have been good to have a televised public, inquiry in WA, so that we all will be witnesses to whatever they are going to delve into. But I think that so far so good. I am, somehow satisfied with what I've heard and what I've picked. But with regards to today's proceedings, I would want to see a significant shift from, day 1 and 2. I'm saying this because if you heard my brother Martin Pebu, as he said, I was expecting them to have a tall list of people they were going to invite so that these people would be pre-informed. But it looks like somehow the committee seems to be a bit reactionary. Yesterday, you heard the committee chairman say, "Oh, where is this person? Is he around? Okay, you are talking at the background. Can you come into it?" I think that to me wasn't the best. It would have been good to pencil down each and every one who is going to come. That way, if they had, let's say, 100 people to appear before the committee, they would prioritize and say policymakers, either they would appear first, technocrats would come in the middle, and in that manner. But unfortunately, it looks more like Frefre Kobo, where once you're available, come and sit, let's interrogate you. When that happens, we might not get the full fight, but let's give them that benefit of the doubt. I have, I'm very optimistic and believe that, we would get something out of this, committee. If they begin to push harder, we are likely to get something out of the committee.
Thank you very much, Adam Bona, for joining the conversation. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Rafiq Salam, our Upper West Regional Correspondent, Adam Bona, who just spoke, a security analyst, and Martin Kwebu, a lawyer. Ghana 4, this is how far we've come on this matter. In the coming days, we shall see what progress will be made by the respective committees.